Hey everybody, Wendy Founder here. Come and see you today from the kitchen where I'm going to make my zucchini bread recipe. Today I'll be making them into like little cupcake muffin sizes. It is hands down the most fantastic zucchini bread recipe I've ever made. I've made it several times, get rave reviews each time. I think last time it yielded just short of 2 dozen, and with 3 people in the house, they were gone in under 48 hours. So if that tells you anything, stay tuned. I'm going to share the recipe, give you some glimpses into the baking process, and let's go. Let's get started. Okay, so for this recipe, the first thing you're going to want to do is get your oven preheated to 350 degrees. While that's coming up to temp, I take that time to grate my zucchini, and I like to chop and toast my pecans. Toasting them is a little bit of extra work, but it really brings out their nuttiness and that crunch that's going to be so fantastic in the muffins. You just want to kind of bring them up in a pan, low to medium heat, just until you begin to smell the nuttiness. That means they're done. Turn the heat off at that point. So I've got my pile of zucchini here. I've got those beautiful pecans getting nice and nutty on the stove. And I also like to make sure I've got my eggs out long enough so they can come to room temperature. It's just an extra little step that's going to help your baking products come out better. It's time to start measuring and throwing these muffins together. Okay, now one thing I do want to go over, just in case you're somebody that doesn't know, when I first started baking, I didn't know this. So on a recipe, for instance, this one calls for 1 3/4 cups of flour. We're going to spoon the flour in. You don't want to be taking your measuring cup, digging it into your flour bowl, packing it in there and leveling it off. That's going to result in heavy, dry baked goods. What you want to do instead is make sure that you're spooning the flour into your cup. And then I always like to overfill. I don't pack it down or tap it down or anything, but what I will do is overfill. And I've already measured my flour, so I'm just doing this as an example for you if you don't know. And then what I will do is take a knife, make sure all the space is filled in, and just level it off. And you can see, like, you don't want any giant air pockets in there, but you will get little air pockets, and that's okay. Some recipes will actually weigh their dry ingredients, and to me that's so much better, that's so much more accurate. It takes the guesswork out. But in general, if you are doing a baked good recipe, when you're measuring your dry ingredients, you want to spoon them in. If I haven't mentioned, this recipe is from Sally's Baking Addiction website, and I will definitely make sure to post a link in the description for this if you want to find it yourself as well. Okay, and then I added in my baking soda, my baking flour, my cinnamon and nutmeg. If you're adding nutmeg in, I left mine out. Nothing wrong with it. I just didn't have it, and I made the recipe like that one time, and it was perfectly delicious, so I just leave it out now. And your salt, you're going to whisk all your dry ingredients together. Note to yourself, make sure you double check your measurements. Don't be like me. I'm using a set of baking spoons that are not mine, and it turns out they actually have an extra measurement on it. So when I grabbed what I thought was the teaspoon, it turns out it was half a tablespoon measurement, which is actually 1.5 teaspoons. So we shall see how these turn out. I'm sure they'll be fine. Okay, and another, do as I say, not as I do kind of thing. You always mix your dry ingredients separately and your wet ingredients separately. And then you're supposed to add the wet into the dry. For me, it's easier with this stand mixer to just put all my wet ingredients in there, cream them together, and then add the dry ingredients into that bit by bit. My muffins turn out totally fine that way, so if you'd like to try that and see if that works for you too, that's fine. Whatever makes it easier, right? So we are going to get our veggie oil in here. Then next I'm going to add in the applesauce, the vanilla, the brown sugar, and the white sugar. Your sugars are considered wet ingredients because they're going to get creamed together with those fats and applesauce. In goes the brown sugar. In goes your white granulated sugar. In goes the applesauce. Here goes my 2 eggs. 1, 2. And then you want 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. I do have more I prepared. In goes the second. I'm never upset by a little extra vanilla in a recipe. Okay, ladies, gentlemen, and others, we're gonna start creaming this mixture together. So I'll raise my bowl up. Turn it on low speed at first, just get it all happily married together. Then we're gonna crank that up so it's nice and creamy. Pick that up to higher speed. Beautiful. I'm going to turn that off and just start spooning in our dry ingredients. So I've got our flour mixture here. If it makes it easier for you like it does for me, just keep one of the measuring cups from your measuring process and that'll help you spoon that in there. I'm just going slow at first to get everything combined. That's some more in. And I'm actually going to dump the rest of this mixture in because I'm just impatient that way. Turn that on again nice and slow. Let that get incorporated. Then we'll pick up the speed and break down the bowl. All right, beautiful. It's already just about combined, so I'm just going to turn it off for a second while I make sure this is all scraped down. Okay. And we're going to let that give it a whirl again just for a couple minutes. Now, I'm gonna fold in all the zucchini, so I'm gonna let the mixer do the work here. I'm just putting that all in, making a little bit of a mess as I go. FYI, I did not measure this zucchini. Again, don't be like me, measure your baked goods, but I'll tell you what, last time, I'm just gathering these because I disinfected everything and then wiped it down with water before I started. I am not worried. Last time I did it, a large zucchini yielded perfect results. So I figured, hey, why not go with that again? And then I'm just gonna fold my pecans in as the last step. That looks combined well enough to me. You wanna be really careful not to over mix your baked goods. Lumps in this muffin recipe, perfectly okay. So my memory filled up and I was not able to finish recording these, but I baked them at 350 in silicone muffin trays on top of baking sheets. They came out fantastic. And as you can see, the dogs love them. I am going to experiment a little bit with the recipe to try to get some nice high raised crowns. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.